leather gloves were slapping in hands. Popcorn and peanuts were working the stands. Pink cotton candy, love on a stick, was chasing the beer that circled the lips. Play ball, play ball. Roll up the bases and smack it right over the wall.
Play ball.
Play ball.
Now you can hear me, right? Can you hear me now? Hello.
Be on remotely, and I think he
Can
is.
you-
I hear him. I
Yeah.
see him.
He's on.
He's on.
Hello, hello.
So you didn't get totally duped, audience. There is a John LaRocchia, but he's just not in the studio.
Yes, can you hear me now, John?
I can hear you. Where are you in the world, Mr. LaRocchia?
Well, Laughter Saves Lives live tonight with co-host John Santo. I am in East Boston.
Boston?
In Boston.
Boston. How's Boston?
Well, you know, I'm not wandering out much, but it seems very Boston-y. When I was out, it feels like Boston.
What does that mean? What does Boston-y feel like?
Well, you know, the one thing that I noticed is a lot of these buildings, as a firefighter, you pick things up like there's 4 or 5 story buildings with those wooden fire escape stairways on the back of the buildings. There's a lot of those. And that feels very Boston-y because you see that on TV a lot. You know, Matt Damon movies and so I've seen a lot of that.
Departed? Did you ever see that movie, The Departed?
Yes, The Padded.
The Padded. The accents got to me after about 40 minutes or so. I wanted to reach in the screen and shake them.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what's so funny is when I'm teaching the class, all the guys have the accents. And you know, sometimes you're like, oh man, these guys are trying to sound like from Boston. Oh, they are from Boston. Wait a second.
They are from Boston. but they do make the best New England clam chowder and the sourdough bread.
Ooh,
The best.
look what I'm eating.
Clam chowder.
New England clam chowder.
Now, the audience is going to think that was a setup. I had no idea until just now that you're eating clam chowder.
Well, what happened was I ordered my dinner a while ago, and I think a lot of people in the hotel are ordering to the room. There's only a few people eating down in the restaurant, you know.
Okay, or because of COVID, right?
Yeah, which is very spread out. So I'm looking at my watch like I got to get up there, you know. So I have a nice salmon salad. Look at I have nice salmon.
Oh, wow.
That looks nice, right?
That looks very nice, yes.
And Butch is going to get upset with me because I'm probably going to be chomping when our guests are on, like, you know, that time I watched the whole Met game while I was on the show and I didn't realize it. And Butch was like, you know, you weren't looking at the screen. You were watching the Mets. So I have to try to be hosty and eat like on the commercials and stuff.
At the
or when
same
you're
time.
talking.
And it's tough to do that because you're remote. You know, it's not like being here in the beautiful Strong Island Studios in sunny Massapequa, New York, next to
which is beautiful. Which is beautiful.
Which is
yes.
nice. But it's good to travel, and you have an entire support team with you that's handling all your technology, which is great. Yes,
take a look. I'm not getting the bed made. No room service. So the room already looks trashed. The CPAP is working fine.
Oh, how's the CPAP? It's good?
CPAP is working fine. I have some nice fresh blueberries and strawberries in the little fridge.
Nice.
I got them from Stop and Shop.
They have Stop and Shop up there? Or you brought them up with you?
Yeah, I was surprised. I went in there with my CAD, my Stop and Shop
CAD? You got
CAD.
The Stop and Shop CAD worked up there?
Yep. I wanted to show you something. I think you saw this the other day. I forgot to show it last week. My family's a little upset at me because I bought a Strider for additional exercise or to break up my routine.
Video,
yeah, Bobby has a little video of me riding the Strider. My son was making fun of me. It's a great workout, though. It really is. Then that's after the Strider. That's what I look like after the Strider.
Oh boy. Here he comes. Here he comes. My father, ladies and gentlemen.
I love it with the Wizard of Oz music, the bike music.
That ridiculous? I am going through my neighborhood with that thing, and people are looking at me. But you know what? They're big in Florida now.
Very big. But I have to tell you something. You don't look as ridiculous as I thought you were going to.
Oh, no. I look ridiculous.
It's not really that terrible. Now that the first time I saw it, I thought yes. But now that I've watched it like 17 or 18 times, it's growing on me.
But let me tell you, it is a workout. 10 minutes and I was exhausted. And you know the tip-top Frank Fiella shape that I am in. Frankie whipping me into shape on a regular basis, where it's come to the point where Frank's workouts with me are attracting people because they're going, what is Johnny L doing to look that good on the Stride Rider?
Right. Well, you're a celebrity, so people are going to be interested.
Well, you know, it's a whole match game. It's a whole match game thing.
Oh my God, we got to talk about Match Game. What an episode that was!
It was the most watched episode ever. I heard
ever that there was top
ever.
It had a 100% rating. Everybody watched it.
They went back to Gene Rayburn days and said nobody watched an episode like this. And the reason is they wanted to see me fail, is what I heard. Many firemen in comics thought that I would cave in.
It was surreal watching you on that. I couldn't believe you were on it, even though I knew you were going to be on it. It was just like I was weird. Like it was like weird.
It was very weird, and I tell you, the biggest panic is if we tied, I would have to write a tiebreaker out. I would have to write an answer out.
Okay,
that's the tiebreaker. If you both tie. And you know my spelling is terrible.
Terrible.
So I was worried that, let's say it was strawberry. I would spell strawberry with one R or something. It has two R's, right?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. I would spell strawberry with one R, and for the rest of my life, comics, firefighters, family, on my tombstone, it would say Johnny Strawberry LaRocchia.
With one R.
Yeah, so that's what I was worried about. So when she started getting him right, I was panicking that she was going to tie me.
That's the only bad thing about going on those game shows is if you do something wrong, if this fail. Now, nobody knows the pressure you're under. Nobody knows what it's like to perform with the lights, with all of the things going on at the same time until they do it, right? And they're very easy to. It's just like the heckler in the audience. It's easy to shout from the crowd, but it's harder to be on the stage. And you were on the stage, and you did a great job.
When they asked me the second question, blank, like the word blank, and the second one was to fill in the blank.
Right? You went blank.
I went totally blank, and then I started to, like, in my head, panic. You couldn't see it on my face because I kept calm and collective. I've gone to the John Santos school of faking it, So I was calm looking. But in my head, I'm like, oh, my God, I don't know what to say. And then I went, wait a second. I get to ask the stars.
If you look at any 70s disaster movie, right, like an Airplane, not Airplane, the comedy, but the real ones that they're based on, the captain was always calm, cool, and collected no matter how bad the emergency. And that was, you were Captain John LaRocchia. It's like, ladies and gentlemen, I have more flying experience than anybody. We're going to land this plane. That's what
you got to fake it. You got to fake it,
You were like Charlton Heston. We're going to land this plane.
Let me say this. October 4th is the big taping of our show that's going to be recorded and available for online purchase the week of October 12th for many, many military and first responder charities. I'm so excited. We've been making phone calls for 2 weeks, talking to them. In fact, one of them is coming on, WNY Heroes.
Yep.
We'll be on in a few minutes. Lynn. And is Lynn, by the way, is Lynn in the studio?
I don't think so. I'm here by myself. No? Yeah.
All right. No, not in the studio. I mean, in the waiting room.
Bobby and I. Is it me and Bobby or Bobby and I? Bobby and I.
I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. In the waiting room. She might. We'd have to check with Mr. Producer.
What does producer say?
There is nobody in the waiting room.
Nobody in the waiting room.
Okay. All right, so she's supposed to be there, so we'll keep talking.
So our guest is Brandon Steiner. We're going to have right from Steiner Sports.
Oh yeah, that's going to be a home run, so to speak.
Why do you think I wore my Met gear?
Yes, he has a lot of memorabilia, and I'm very curious. I did a little, reading on Brandon Steiner because that's what a host is supposed to do.
Yes, I have it right here.
Because Butch sent me some information on Brandon Steiner. And I don't know if he sent it to you, but he sent me. It says Brandon Steiner was a man. That was the bio that Butch sent me. Brandon Steiner grew up and he was an older man. That was it. That was the bio, Butch.
I have a little more here.
No. So I did some reading. No, Butch sent me a little thing. I did some more reading.
Right.
And I'm going to ask him about Mickey Mantle, that he helped Mickey Mantle open his first sports bar. That had to be one of the first sports bars in New York, I would think.
I would think, yeah.
So anyway, getting back to the big show. We had so much fun in Long Beach the other day. I had fun filming this last promo that I decided that we're going to do more of this. We're going to film more promos for shows to get the Laughter Saves Lives word out there. But it's entertaining, and you have the outtakes in it. But I was running in the water, into the picture.
You can't
5 takes. What's that?
You can't show that picture to people. It's against the Geneva Convention.
Well, this is the picture. This is a still. Bobby has a still there. He showed it briefly. Look at this.
He put it up.
This is me coming out of the water for like the 5th time. You can see how tired I look. Because I think they were busting my balls. Oh, one more take. I'm like, one more take. I've been running in waist-high water for 10, 15 minutes here. I'm 61 years old. But the crowd that gathered at the beach when we were filming, there was at least 1 to 2 people gathering to watch this promo.
Now, please tell me, Bobby, did the audience see that, or was that was just on my monitor?
No, the audience saw it.
Everybody saw it.
Everybody saw it.
We should take this time to apologize to the Laughter Saves Lives live viewership audience.
There we go.
There it is again.
My new bathing suit. Look at my new bathing suit. My little water wings I have on. I did have goggles on, but I think I lost them on the 3rd take because I had to fall back in the water, and it was fun. Let me tell you, it was so much fun. I laughed so hard filming that, and I kept wiping my hands on JJ when I was dripping wet, like we were talking. It was so much fun, and the water was perfect.
Can I ask just one question? I'm compelled to ask this question.
Yes.
I get the swim trunks. I get the helmet. That's a Laughter Saves Lives helmet. That's totally appropriate.
Yes.
Who made the decision? What was the thought process behind putting those the baby life arm guards or whatever flotation things on? Whose decision was that?
John, you have to understand, at beach now, there's no lifeguards. You need to protect yourself. You understand? So we decided that if I fell in the water, that would make me float for about 3 seconds where people could go, hey, he's drowning.
Hey, he's drowning.
And then I would drown. Then I would drown. But at least it gave him 3 seconds to see me drown.
Well, you know what would be cool? A set of Laughter Saves Lives life preservers.
I believe they're called water wings.
Water wings. Thank you, Mr.
What did I call? Didn't I say water wings?
I don't remember. I know John was trying to figure it out. I didn't hear. You may have.
I was struggling to come up with the proper term that Bobby came up with. That is what they are. What did I say? Some kind of flotation device on the arm?
Yeah, you were really.
I was really just flashing, right?
Hey, Ellen. I thought I sent Ellen the Zoom link. Can you tell Butch to send Ellen the link? She's texting me. If you're watching, send Ellen the link.
This is the most casual show. All that behind the scenes stuff never makes it to the air. Here it's like, hey, call me on the phone because I got you.
Hey, by the way, honey, if you're watching, can you take in the mail?
Hold on a second. I have to send a coded message to some of our spies overseas. The chicken is in the pot. You know, we're sending these coded messages over the air.
Let me ask you a question.
Hold on. What do you want me to say? Okay.
Can I ask you a question about the clam chowder?
It's snowing in Brussels. It's raining in London. What? Yes, go ahead. Can
I ask you a question about the clam chowder?
The clam chowder? Of course. I'll help you anyway.
Do you need to put the little crackers?
What are you doing? What are you doing? Put them in.
How many? They gave me 2 of these things.
All right, here's what you do. How much soup do you have left? Show me the soup.
I have most of it. I'll probably be
All right.
eating it.
But all right, so put cover the whole top with 5 of them, and then eat them, and then you do the next layer. No, don't put the whole thing in. Whatever. All right. And then you save the rest for the next layer, because this way every layer has those crackers.
All right.
You're doing great. You're doing great. I'm going to walk you through the whole thing. You're doing fine.
Let me talk to you about Hilton hotels.
That's a Hilton you're staying in?
You know me. I'm very true. I always stay in the same hotels because I get my parents. You know what I mean?
Yep.
How do you say parents in Bostonian?
I think you had it. Parents.
No, parents is like Brooklyn-y. Hey, you got any parents?
Pints. It's almost like pints, I guess.
I was watching, by the way, the game show, and if you said on Match Game, because I'm in the Match Game mood, I watched a lot of episodes before to get psyched. If you're having a patty in your blank, what would you say? Party in your
house.
In your pants. I'm having a patty in my pants. You never heard that expression?
Well, I didn't know what we could say on the air here, so I don't know.
Well, so anyway, so I'm at Hilton, right?
Yep.
Okay. Why do I stay at the Hilton Garden Inn? If you know me, instead of the Hampton Inn, why do I stay at the Hilton Garden Inn?
Because the Hilton Garden Inn has the breakfast.
Has the omelet guy.
The omelet guy breakfast, yes.
Now understand, we're in COVID-insky times here.
Yep.
So they have no omelet guy.
No omelet guy?
No. They're giving you a breakfast to go.
Ah.
Now, shame on Hilton.
Why?
Because, number one, I hate pears. So you would think that there's going to be a piece of fruit in there, right?
I hate pears. I hate them.
Pears, what you bite into a pear, it tastes like you're biting into another piece of fruit that's overripe.
A pear is like the almost doesn't exist. It's just there. It has no flavor, taste, nothing.
I can't blame them for that because they put a piece of fruit in. They didn't know I don't like pears, right?
But you're a celebrity. You're the president of Laughter Saves Lives, a big international comedian.
I am a Match Game winner.
And you were on Match Game. This is an outrage.
And I tried to explain that to them, but here's what was in my bag of breakfast.
What?
A pear, 2 granola bars, and you know what else?
Yogurt.
Nothing.
What?
Nothing. No water, nothing. So you know what I did?
That's a total disgrace. Total disgrace.
You know what I did?
What?
I took 10 bags.
10 bags.
I will have granola bars for you when I get home.
A to-go breakfast, I appreciate that, but you can keep the pears. But a to-go breakfast should should be yogurt, granola.
Yep.
Granola that's flakeable that you can put into the yogurt.
Nice. Apple.
Which I like to do. I do that at home. I have the yogurts, and then I put my own granola stuff in there. I have all different kinds of granola.
Nice. Apple.
All different granola, cereals, what have you. And then they have to give you a fruit, and at least the orange juice, preferably with maximum pulp, because I have class. But where do we stay at spring training? That was a Hilton Garden Inn, right?
That was a Hilton Garden Inn with a lovely, lovely breakfast.
Best breakfast. And they had the omelet guy. They also had the buffet. And you could order too. You could order the breakfast.
I don't think they have an omelet guy now.
No more omelet guy? With the why does COVID? Oh, because of the. No, wait. Why wouldn't they have an omelet?
Why? I'll tell you why.
Embassy Suites has an omelet guy too.
They are serving dinner.
Oh.
And the reason is they told me that not many people are eating breakfast.
Really?
Now you know where I stopped? I stopped at Starbucks.
Yeah, but that's not a real breakfast. The hotel breakfasts are the best breakfast.
I know, but Starbucks has these little omelets like this big.
What is that? The size of a quarter?
They're like the size of of this.
You know what we're gonna do?
No.
When you get back, One day, before I start work, I'll meet you at the Massapequa Diner, which is one of our sponsors, used to be at least.
Yep.
I will buy you the best breakfast. I will make up that omelet to you.
I would look forward to that. How about we go to a commercial break and hope one of our guests are in the waiting room when we come back.
Excellent.
Well, we're going to start talking about lunch.
Hi, I'm Michael Barish, managing partner of Barish, McGarry, Salzman and Penson. We are honored to represent over 11,000 people in the 9/11 community. The people who work at my law firm can really relate to what the 9/11 community is going through because they're going through it too.
So my dad's name was Billy Gormley, and he was a fireman on 9/11.
My father also was a firefighter, and he did report down there as well on 9/11.
My dad, Alan, worked on the 104th floor of the second tower. He was an IT technician.
My father was a fire inspector.
My husband, his name is David Velez. He was a detective with the NYPD, and if I can help anybody that is going through exactly what I have gone through for the last 17, 18 years and make their life just a little bit better, then you know what? I love coming to work every single day.
You know, this is a genuine office. Like, people are really sincere.
The best part of my job is the clients. Every once in a while, you'll hear in their voice how grateful they are for the work that we do.
We take this personally, and we will not rest unless we help everybody we can before this Victim Compensation Fund ends in 2 years. And we will be fighting to get this thing extended past 2020 because cancer isn't going to stop afflicting the 9/11 community.
And we're back with John LaRocchia, who's eating soup, and me, who's not.
I got a cracker stuck in my throat. I think I put too many in.
See, I told you you gotta put in just like 3 to 5 on the top layer. Go through them, and then work your way down. Have you ever had it in the bread bowl, John, where they put it in a sourdough bread bowl?
Yes.
And then
it's delicious.
At the end, where you have a saturated piece of bread, and then you could just chow down.
I actually wore. It was a few months after 9/11, and we were we had a lot of visitors, and somebody brought me one of those bread bowls, and we were going to make something in it. And I wore it as a hat for 3 days. I wore a bread hat.
Waiting room, Mr. Producer. Is it Brandon or is it?
Brandon's on right in front of you, right underneath the screen.
Brandon is on. There we go. Hi, Brandon. Nice to meet you.
We're gonna bring him in.
Sure.
Bring him in.
Now he's on the air. Cool. This is
There
so
he
cool.
is.
The setup is amazing.
Hey, Brandon.
What's happening?
Hey, thanks for taking the time to come on our little show. I apologize. I'm not in the studio. I'm teaching a class in Boston because I have to make some money. But it's a pleasure having you.
What engine are you on there? What engine is that?
Where I am down here?
Yeah.
I'm actually teaching at Logan Airport, the Massport Fire Department. They handle the airports and I think the boat. Great guys. So I'm right at Logan Airport.
Cool.
Yeah. So you have such an interesting history. John and I were doing some research today.
I'm John. I'm the co-host. Hi, Brandon. Nice to meet you.
Hi, John. Hi.
Yeah, we're both big baseball fans. So I want to start off by you assisted or helped Mickey Mantle with his bar, his sports bar.
Well, I helped open up the Mickey Mantles along with many other sports bars, including LT and Ron Darling had one, and I don't know if you remember a guy named Kozlowski in Miami. I did a whole bunch of sports bars back in the 80s. That was my expertise, and I had opened up one of the first ones in Manhattan, which the sports bar theme hadn't been around, believe it or not. You had to go high and far to find a restaurant with a TV in it. Maybe a small dive bar had a 19-inch. And so there were 2 sports bars when I got in there, a quick one in the Ultimate in Chicago, and then there's the Bobby Valentine's one up in Norwalk. And theirs were just all 19-inch TVs. We had done a 10-foot screen or something like that and a satellite dish, which is the only satellite dish in Manhattan. Then the whole thing took a life onto itself. You know, you guys are probably old enough to remember. I mean, there were a period of time when nobody would think about going to a restaurant and watching a game.
Right.
That's not what people did. Now, if you go to a restaurant that doesn't have some TVs, you think something's wrong. God forbid you go a few hours without having some kind of games or TV on or whatever. It's crazy.
Yeah. So you've been dealing with memorabilia for how many years?
Well, it started Steiner in '88. The memorabilia really came full into gear like in the mid '90s. But I have a little history with the Red Sox. I got a little history with the Mets. It's funny, both of you guys, because I started, believe it or not, the first team I did, which was in the early 2000s, was the Mets, and it really wasn't going that well, like most stuff with the Mets. And then I actually did. We're not going to go on that tangent because I feel like there's a new day in Flushing. Thank God. But
yes, finally,
really, you can't that change can't happen quick enough.
Yeah.
And a lot of it does come from ownership, because on the flip side with the Red Sox, they have tremendous ownership. And I did have a partnership with them for 4 or 5 years, which was awesome. Love the ownership and the management there, which is no surprise why they win as often as they do. I know it's been a tough year for the Red Sox fans, and every now and then you hit those kind of bumps. But they really have a very tight-knit team in running that club. And there's no surprise that's why they win as often as they do. That ballpark is amazing. And so I had Red Sox Steiner. I don't brag about that in New York much, because most people think of me as a Yankee guy and a New York guy, and I am. But, I did many other partnerships outside the Yankees, including the Cowboys, Notre Dame, and stuff like that.
I saw Notre Dame, yeah. So let me ask you, John, jump in. I'll ask this one question and jump in if you have a question. Is there one piece of memorabilia that you regret selling or auctioning, and is there one that you will never sell or auction?
It's funny you say that. I mean, first of all, one of my favorite deals, by the way, was Notre Dame, just because, a Jewish kid from Brooklyn going up to Notre Dame and cutting that deal. I'm very proud of that. It just means you could do anything if you get that deal done. Put Steiner next to Notre Dame. It's funny. It's funny. I feel that way about almost all the things I've sold over the years. Generally, the stuff that I create and then buy, I love, and I hate giving it up. Yeah. And if you came to my house, you'd understand I definitely have some issues with probably saving and collecting too many things like everybody else. But, I love my Thurman Munson autograph. One of my first autographs I got back up in Fenway when I went to go see the Red Sox Yankees. Stayed at the Sheraton in Copley Plaza, ran into Thurman in the hotel elevator, and he signed my program, which was an amazing moment. I really, there's so many things that I really regret selling, but I think the number one thing was, I've done Mariano Rivera's collectibles forever and a day, and every year at the end of the year, he'd come with a bag of all his game used, and we'd sell it at one time. That's how it went.
Oh, wow.
And a bunch of times I just felt like I wish I just gave him the money and put the bag and kept it, because the stuff all went up through the roof, and I knew it even when I was doing it. The stuff every year, the stuff would go up more and more value, but it was still worth it for me not to sell it and probably keep it, particularly stuff from it, for some of the championship years, where I wish I hadn't sold his stuff because it was just too good. It's just too good. He's just a legendary player that I'm glad that his stuff is all over the place and people are enjoying it, but I wish that I would have kept it.
Brandon, John's a collector. John, what do you think your most valuable possession is?
I would have to say it is the ball that you and I, we were at the game when Wilmer Flores hit the walk-off home run in 2015 against the Nationals, and it was the 11th inning, and the ball where Jose Lobaton fouled it off the Dunkin' Donuts sign. The ball boy tossed it into the crowd, right into my glove. 45 years it took to get a ball. But he had
it in a case, Brandon, within 30 seconds.
I had a cube. I didn't bring a cube, but I had it cubed in the van. And it's right. I have the ticket. I bought the ticket holder. It's right with the ticket. Everything is preserved.
Well, I love that kind of collecting. By the way, I think that things you can get on your own, even when you see players or when you get stuff like that you got. I just think it's priceless, and those are the moments. And the stuff that I've created and a lot of the stuff I sell, I hope is kind of the supplemental stuff,
right?
The real important stuff, which is the stuff you get in person and get yourself.
I mean, I would love.
Brandon, hold on one second. We got a call for you.
If I got a Ron Darling ball, I would love that because He was my favorite Met when I was in high school. We have the same birthday. So if he wrote something that I could never sell, like to John, August 19th, Rondon, that to me would be like amazing. Like, so that would be like the coolest thing.
John,
on a ball like that. So like that's the kind of stuff that I collect, you know, stuff that I either met the player in person or, you know, I buy stuff too, but it's like I have like a combination strategy, whatever I
John,
like.
John, we have a caller for Brandon has a question.
Let me bring in the caller as Mike Francesa. Caller, this is Mike Francesa. You're on with Brandon Steiner from Steiner Sports. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Karen, and I'm calling to ask him if I'm a Michigan alum and lots of family and friends that are all Wolverines, and was curious if he has any Tom Brady memorabilia.
Ooh, good question.
You know, I do get Tom Brady memorabilia all the time. It's a little overpriced right now, but you know, when I did signs with him, we signed some Michigan stuff, and I do get some Michigan stuff. You know, from time to time. My son went to Michigan, so go Blue. Love Michigan and love the Michigan athletic program. They do a great job. There's nothing like it. The Loud House, the Big House, whatever they call it. It's amazing. You know, Jabbar Peppers. You got a lot of Michigan alum that playing in basketball and in football. So there's a lot of stuff to collect. I would wait a little bit on the Michigan Brady thing because it's just too much money right now. But you could find some stuff. If you're really interested, if you message me on LinkedIn or if you message me on Facebook, I'm more than glad to talk to you and help you find something.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you for your call.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, I was going to tell you about the Ron Dong. I used to play basketball with Ron in the mid-'80s when baseball players could play basketball during the season. And we used to go down to the Downtown Athletic Club. I had my restaurant, and Ron actually opened up a restaurant right near there. His own, which I helped open up. But I used to play basketball. Imagine Downtown Athletic Club, you playing half court with Darling. And I mean, some of the stuff that I did when I was younger, when I look back, I mean, it's just awesome. It's amazing, like to have the access and the ability to do some of these things.
Now,
who else played in those half court games?
What's that?
Anybody else play in those games? Any of the Mets?
No, he was the one that played. He played regularly. Ronnie liked to play hoops, and he was a good hoop player, obviously. He's good at everything, frankly.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I have a court at my house. I have a lot of guys that come and play with me now, but, you know, usually they're more on the retired side to get them to come and play, and more NBA, more basketball guys than baseball guys that come and play. Although Reggie Jackson played with us. In the morning, he came and played with my friends and I. And then how many other players have come?
Hey, Brandon, we got another caller coming in.
Caller, this is Mike Francesa. You're on with Brandon Steiner from Steiner Sports. Go ahead with your question.
Hey, Brandon, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How you doing?
Hello?
I'm here.
Hi, Brandon, how are you? What I really want to know is what item or what team really brings in the most for you? What do you find selling more than anything else?
I would guess it's got to be the Yankees. Before you answer,
you know, it used to be, and it's still. You know, the Yankees are. You know, you really. You know, when you're racing against the Yankees when it comes to these kinds of things in licensing and marketing, you are racing for second place. So you got to take the Yankees. You got to put them on the side just because there is no brand like them in all of sports. But you know what's funny? The real answer to the question really is amazing that there are so many more markets in the conversation versus 10, 15 years ago where you really looked at a Boston, Chicago, and those were your big collectible markets. Now there are smaller markets that when their teams are up and cranking and cooking, they step up and raise up to the occasion. They're much more affluent as far as them stepping forward and getting into the collectible game. So even like when Mahomes and Kansas City wins, because they haven't won in so long, that market was brilliant. It's not as good as a New York market, but remember the New York market, besides even being the Yankees, which is the second to none brand, it's a 1/6 of the country. You know, there's more Yankees. Yeah. I mean, just the numbers are incredible. The following for this team and this brand are amazing. So to answer the person's question there that I just called, I really like the Boston market. I mean, those fans are nuts. They're not fair weather fans. That's a very important element. When I look at the Boston market, they come thick and thin, day and night, and you can't always tell. I mean, they're a little bummed now because some of their teams And then I love the Cowboys. They're another market that is insane. Very, very deep.
Brandon, let me ask you this. Recently, we had the franchise pass away, Tom Seaver.
Yeah.
Do you have something of Seaver's that, you know, obviously the value probably just doubled on whatever you have of Tom Seaver, yes?
Yes. I have a bunch of Seaver, and I don't get caught up in the. I mean, Seaver had been really sick for a while, so the collector really knew that. The passionate fan jumped into the market when he passed away and maybe overpaid a little bit. But I have a bunch of Seaver just because I did a bunch of stuff with Seaver, and I love the relationship I had with him. He was a really interesting guy because how intelligent he was about so many things. You could talk to him about had an incredibly high baseball IQ. So you can get into a really in-depth conversation about baseball and not be one iota disappointed, but you could talk wine, you could talk politics. I mean, he's a really bright guy, special guy, and very loved and will be missed. So yeah, I have some really cool things, but the stuff that I really keep from a guy like that are the personal stuff that I may have gotten from an appearance or something he'd signed for me personally. Like I've got a really cool photo that he signed to me. I don't need to have a bunch of stuff just because it's worth a lot and the players aren't here anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
At this point in my career, I'm really keeping stuff that's valuable to me because of a relationship or something that we did together.
Brandon, can I ask
John, you want to bring in another caller?
Oh, I just want to ask a question about. Can you explain to the audience about authentication? I know that's a big topic, and I have a lot of authentic stuff from MLB and then NFL. Could you just explain the various authentication programs for the audience?
I think, at this point already, things have kind of straightened themselves out a bunch on the authentication. There are some companies that do a good job, and I think you could trust them as much as you need to because they've been around for a while. And I think you got to ask yourself, in 10 years from now, like I've been doing this for 30 years, I think I have a trusted name and people trust me. When you look at things like Upper Deck, when you look at companies like that, TriStar, even MAB, solid companies. But again, what I like now is, and what I try to do on collectible exchanges, I offer additional authentication. Meaning if you're buying something, you're not sure what it is, you can bring that to me and I will get it additionally authenticated for you or verified to make sure that the authentication that the person saying it has really does. That's where the trickery comes in. Sometimes somebody will say they have a Steiner item and it's not. And you don't even think to go back and look. So I think the MLB authentication is a good system. I mean, if it has MLB, you can look it up. Our new authentication system at Collectible Exchange has a numerical system. You can easily look up and see what the deal is. I think a buyer be educated also. You have a pretty good idea who you can buy from these days. And I highly recommend using that common sense. Mm-hmm. And, when you go buy something on the street that doesn't make much sense, doesn't quite look the way it's supposed to look, it smells like a dog. It probably is. But if you're not sure, please come to us. We'll help you get it additionally authenticated because there are diamonds in the rough, and we have no problem telling you whether you screwed up or whether you got something really special.
What's cool about
I think we have another caller, John.
At the stadium, I bought a ball, and it was authenticated with the MLB hologram right under the Rawlings. And you look it up, and it tells you this is for the audience.
Yeah.
Who pitched it? What kind of pitch it was? My ball was thrown 2 pitches, then it was taken out of service in the dirt and then thrown to the side. But it said Steven Matz, 73.4 whatever in this inning, and you have all the details, and that comes out about a week after I bought the ball. I put the number in, and it was there.
I think they do a good job, MLB. Yeah.
Hold on 1 second, guys. Do we have another caller for Brandon?
Caller, this is Mike Francesa. You're on with Brandon Steiner.
Hi, Brandon. I have 2 questions for you, and I'll take your answers off the air. One is, can you tell me how your new website is different than the old Steiner Sports? And 2, is there much Kobe Bryant stuff out there? And if there is, are you going to be having any of it? Thanks so much.
Thank you for the call.
I'll answer the easy one first. On the Kobe Bryant thing, I mean, I think that surge, which certainly was a surge and obviously a dramatic situation that happened, has calmed down, and obviously things went through the roof. But Kobe has signed a significant amount of autographs, which is unusual for a player of his stature. But at the beginning of his career, he had a couple contracts that literally had him sign thousands and thousands of things, which means that when things do calm down, his autograph is always going to be pricey because of the belovedness that he had in the West Coast, particularly, but not as expensive as it's been the last 3 or 4 months. So, that something like that happens. People want to have something and they want to make sure they can remember it. So the price is really skyrocketed. If you wait until possibly even after this year is over and get into next winter and spring, you'll see prices come down. I think when you look at Steiner, I love that company. Obviously, I created it and very proud of it. But, my company is completely different. I'm more of a collaborative. I'm looking and putting together all the fans around the country to have a website that they can trade and sell stuff to each other, and also the ability to trade and sell with athletes and celebrities directly. So my site, I kind of call it the nickname Collect Direct. You can go to players. You'll see we already launched a few websites with many more to come over the next couple months, where you'll be able to go onto players' websites and actually buy from them directly. Cool. But most importantly, I know that I put out over 30 million autographs into the marketplace, maybe even more. And I know that there's a lot of people that want to sell their stuff or want to sell their stuff and buy other things. And I think as many things as I've created over the 30 years I've been in the business, I really think some of the greatest collectors are really with the fans, and they're all over the place. And I love the idea of me not creating all the electricity all the time, but I'm finding all these collectors and I'm giving them a platform to sell their stuff. So my hopes is that I'm certainly going to police this site like there's no tomorrow, unlike eBay, who doesn't. I'm giving the opportunity for anyone to get additional verification, authentication, so that when they're buying something, they don't have to worry. And most importantly, I'm collaborating the best collectors in the country together, so they come onto a site and everybody can really see all the different options, and not forcing you to go buy something that I did with a player and I had them sign 500 things, because there's some awesome collectors out there. And to answer that person's question, what I love is the fact that, on eBay right now, there's 1 million signed collectibles on there. 1 million. There's only 70,000 on my site as we speak, and growing. And my goal is that by Christmas to have 250,000. And the shame of it is on eBay, there's also in that million, there's some really good stuff, but there's so much crap.
Right.
It blurs the industry and it just makes it bad. And what I want to do is just have really good stuff and make sure that people are protected.
See, I
Brandon,
Chinese jersey.
We have is Ellen in the waiting room there, Bob?
Oh yeah, Ellen's there. Hey, John, before Ellen comes in, can I ask you a question? If I were to sign this baseball and get John to sign it also, 2 top comics, how much would this ball be worth about?
Not a lot. I'd be careful not to do that.
Thanks, Brandon. Thanks. We appreciate that.
Let's not chase bad. Let's not chase taking something good with some weird stuff on there. But, now, you're better off taking a blank ball and signing that. But I don't know.
Brandon, I don't know.
So I don't know.
I don't know if you took a look at our website, laughtersageslives.org, but we'd love to do something with you to raise some money for the charities that we support. So we'll be in touch on that. I want to thank you for calling in. We're going to go to a commercial, and we'll be in touch. Thank you so much,
Thanks
Brandon.
for having me. Love doing the charity stuff. Keep up the good work, guys, and keep everybody laughing.
You were awesome. Thank you.
Brandon, you were great.
Brandon Steiner, one of the best people out there for memorabilia. You heard him. Go to his site, take a look at what he's got. We'll go to commercial. We'll come back with comic Ellen Karas.
When someone is choking, brain damage can occur after just 4 minutes. Did you know every 5 days a child dies because of a choking accident?
My name is Art Lee. I invented LifeVac to protect my family. LifeVac is an easy-to-use suction device with a special one-way valve to help save a choking victim.
I care for my dad, who's prone to choking. Having LifeVac in my home gives me peace of mind.
Protect your family. Buy LifeVac now.
Thank you, Daddy. Call 1-877-LifeVac or visit lifevac.net.
And we're back. John Santo in studio in Massapequa. Johnny LaRocchia in Boston.
And joining us from New York City.
And Ellen Karas. Listen, take that mask off. You're at home. We want to see your pretty face.
Oh, look at the eye.
Oh.
Nice.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
It's to protect me against the evil eye. You know, like the Maloki. What is it?
I was just going to say that.
Right?
The Maloki.
The Maloki. That's it. That's what I'm walking around with.
Oh, Bubba, it's so nice to see you.
So nice to see you.
And I'm going to see you on Saturday, our first show together in a long time.
I told my husband, he's like, you're doing what? You're going where? You mean you're going to get dressed? You mean you're going to put on some makeup maybe and look presentable?
And leave?
Oh, God. I mean, you guys are married. You know, I'm married. This is tough on married people. I mean, it's way too much togetherness. And, you know, you guys are out in Long Island. You know, the city's a mess. And my husband keeps threatening he wants to move. So he said to me the other day, why don't we go to New Zealand? There's no COVID there. It's great. You know, the lifestyle, it's cheap. And I just looked at him. I'm like, I would never go to New Zealand with you. I don't really care for you that much, you know? We can't even survive on the Upper East Side. I don't think we're not going to make New Zealand. I just not.
So you care for him enough, maybe Westchester or Long Island, but not New Zealand.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, no, man, this is tough. But the mask, I mean, I just, you know what? I had the blue paper one. I just acquiesced only because this one had the eye. So I liked it. And actually, honestly, I just opened it up. It's made well, but because I feel like I was feeding the frenzy. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to start getting a mask wardrobe. Like all of a sudden, then I knew that. And then I'll probably get fat and it won't fit my face. You know, the whole bit, just like clothes. So, but I'm very excited that you're doing a live show. I mean, are we going to have live people? Am I going to be in a fishbowl? How is that going to work? Are we going to?
We are working a yacht club, so everybody will be on a separate boat in the water, and the audience will be on the shore. It's going to be very interesting. We'll be honking the horns of the boat. Ellen, you're next.
Oh man, I can't wait. You know what? I did do one live show. This is actually a sad thing to say, but I did one live show on Long Island at Piccola.
Yes.
Was fantastic. Great owners, right? Blah blah. And then the next week they had a huge fire there.
Oh yeah.
And I was heartbroken. I mean, I think they're gonna fix it, but it was bad.
Yeah.
I was heartbroken. I mean, it was awful. And they're just the nicest people and very big supporters of comedy. So let's, pray for them. But not a lot of live shows. Or I did one at a drive-in. I did do a drive-in show. So people honk.
That was fun.
I don't like that. See, I wouldn't want to do that. It would just ruin my confidence for months. People honking at me. I would move out of the way. People be honking the horn. I'm like, oh, am I in the way?
Well, I never really had a lot of confidence, so I don't really have that much farther to go. But tomorrow morning, I am doing a corporate gig, and it's going to be the Zoom thing. And I just feel like we're going to come out of this at some point, and we're all going to speak on delay. You know what I'm saying? We're all so,
we're going to zoom into each other's faces like this.
Right. So it's not healthy. I can't. Is this over yet? Are we done? Please. Although I know there's big talk, the vaccine or whatever. Although I am very holistic. I'm waiting for the vitamins. You know what I'm saying? I'm waiting for someone to say, dose up.
You can take that to help your immune system. I take elderberry. I take oregano oil.
Yeah. I'm taking some stuff, but I mean a real this is it. You know what I mean?
Oh, right. Yeah.
But the vaccine, I have some friends. They are waiting for the vaccine. They are going to be first online. I have a friend Millie. Again, everything she talks about at the end of it is when we have the vaccine.
When we have the vaccine. My dad is like that. My dad is the most depressing person because you'll be talking to him about the Mets and he'll go, yeah, but when this thing is over, when they get the vaccine, then we can watch baseball again. Then we can, one day at a time. One day at a time.
I know a lot about vaccines. The flu vaccine is only 50% effective. So how effective is the COVID going to be? I don't know. Nobody knows.
Right. So my friend was like, listen, Russia is coming up with a vaccine. Would you take the Russian vaccine? And I'm like, Millie, I wouldn't take the vaccine if it was made in Queens. Like, I'm not taking it. Like, first of all, and there's better be a whole line of people taking it before me.
Right.
Bill Gates, Elon Musk.
I don't want to be Chuck Yeager on the vaccine. I want it to be tested before. I don't want to be the first.
Please.
You know who has a very good vaccine?
Who?
New Zealand.
New Zealand.
Well, you see what Cuomo said? Cuomo said, we're not doing a vaccine until I say that it's good. We're not doing it.
Is Cuomo like, I know we're not doing politics. This is just observation, right? This is just like, because Cuomo is old school Italian. And he's been waiting to do his role in The Godfather. Like, he's been waiting for this Don role for a long time. Because how many Italian governors are there, right? He's got to be like the only one.
The only one.
So he's like, finally, this whole virus thing is working out in my favor. But the school, so Long Island, I should say most places, certainly in the tri-state, the school part has, you guys are, even though I know parents complain, nothing is worse than the city, because I've got nieces and my niece slept over. She gets up, she's 16. She gets up, she logs in, and she goes back to sleep.
Nice.
So as long as they just log in, I'm like, aren't you supposed to be up at least?
Excuse me.
Hey,
she's
Ellen,
like, excuse me, you're waking me here, Aunt Ellen.
You gave me a good idea, Ellen. Can I run this by you? I want to do. They're going to do Cuomo as the Godfather. You ready?
Yeah.
We are going to make him an offer that he can't refuse. He can't refuse. An offer he can't refuse. What do you think? There might be material there.
Well, and if they don't make you an offer, you're going to have to go pay him a visit. And if you pay him a visit, leave the gun and take the cannolis. You know what I'm saying?
Leave the gun, take the cannoli.
All right, listen, we got about a minute. A minute. Bobby, how much time we have?
Let's see. You can go for another 4 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Heck.
Whoa.
That's an eternity in this house. I'm just saying.
So I'm looking forward to Saturday because we're going to be around some comics. We'll bring our masks. We'll socially distance, but we're going to have a live audience. I was just told today they're doing it outside now in the tent because more people would come. So they decided to move it outside. John, are you coming to the show Saturday? Are you on the ticket?
If I knew where it was and when it was, I would come.
All right. Well, then we're not going to tell you. Yes, if you want to come and do a guest spot, you can do that. I think I'm going to MC.
I want to come and see people. I don't even care if you put me up.
Yeah, we're going to have fun. We're going to have fun. Do you remember, Ellen? Remember Florida when we found out you were in Florida? And I said, Ellen, why don't you come over and do a guest spot? She goes, all right. She gets an Uber, calls an Uber, and she gets in the car. The guy opens the back door, opens the other door, and says, "You're here." She was right next door.
Oh, that's funny.
Because I asked the people at the hotel, and they're telling me it's like down the road. I'm like, well, can I walk there? And they're like, well, there's really no sidewalks. You might not want to walk. It literally was like around the corner. It was ridiculous. It was embarrassing.
Where in Florida was this? Do you remember?
Port St. Lucie.
Yeah.
Oh, you went down with the spring training. Okay.
Well, I was right. I actually did it was a women's group. I'll tell you really quick. It was a women's group. I went on a Thursday because they wanted me to do something, wanted me to do my set on Friday morning. And they were like, stay the whole weekend. It'll be great or whatever. Nice. And I wound up doing that. And to tell you the truth, after they were done, I thought I'd networked. It wasn't that big of a group. Thank God you guys came on Saturday. Like, I had nothing to do.
Oh,
and
good.
I was already kind of stuck there. And then that night, when I came back, the hotel, the ceiling collapsed and water was screaming. It was insane. It was like insane. But anyway, the highlight was seeing you guys.
That was fun. It was, and it was a nice place. It was
the Fly in the studio.
Yeah, it was a nice place.
How does it fly game?
So Joe, before we end the show, we have the flyer for the 4th, and then
we do.
Yes, we do, and then let everybody know who's going to be on the show next week.
Next week we have on we have on Robin from the original Batman.
Whoa! Wait, Burt Ward?
Burt Ward.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Do you know we had on Ellen? Do you know we had on Rich Little 2 weeks ago?
You know what? I saw that and I have to watch that. I know. I mean, that's John Santos' God. I mean, that's your.
Yeah.
I mean,
check this. You know what Rich Little said? He said, "I completed the trifecta: Tonight Show, Letterman, Laughter Saves Lives." He was so excited.
That's
good. My George W. Bush, the son, and Rich Little,
right.
my dad, who's the George H.W. That was heaven.
I called when we found out we were going to have Rich Little, Ellen. I called up John. I said, "We're going to have Rich Little. Who can I get to co-host?"
Oh God!
and he went silent. Like, is he serious?
And look at this! I even decorated the studio in your absence, John.
Oh yeah, what did you bring?
Great guest. Can I tell you who I had on my podcast? Can I plug my podcast, by the way?
Absolutely.
Kara's Comedy Corner podcast. Both Johns have been on it.
Yes.
And it's great. It's go to my website, ellenkaras.com. I'm on iTunes also. And yesterday I posted, are you ready? Antonio Sabato Jr. I had a very hard time interviewing him because we did a Zoom and it was I had men emailing me telling me that he was so handsome. Like he's
really? He's the most handsome guy you've had since me?
Since us, right?
Yes.
That's the top 3 right there.
Well, I felt like I needed to get an equal to you guys. So I got Antonio. You guys also did a spectacular job when you modeled for Calvin Klein. So, you know.
Oh, it was awesome. Your show was awesome. All right, we're going to wrap it up. I see the wrap-up sign. All right, Ellen, thank you for calling in. Thanks. Thanks, Brandon. What is he doing? Thank you to Brandon Stein. What is he doing? What is he doing? John, close the show out. Close it out. I don't know what you're doing. Close out the show.
This was Mike Francesa. We want to thank our guest, Ellen Karas, one of the top comics, if not the top comic in New York City. Brandon Steiner from Steiner Sports. And my name is John Santo, playing Mike Francesa, John's favorite radio host. Thank you so much for tuning in. Laughter Saves Lives. We're back next week with Burt Ward. See you next week.
Thank you.
Old leather gloves, we're slapping in hands. Popcorn and peanuts, we're working the stands. Pink cotton candy, love on a stick. Who's chasing the beer that circle the lips? Play ball. Play ball. Roll up the bases and smack it right over the wall. Play ball. Play ball.
Oh boy. Here he comes. Here. Oh my God. My father, ladies and gentlemen.